Hey guys, in today's video we're going to look at the 1997 Mr. Olympia event. I'm going to see if Dorian Yates really deserved to beat Nasser Sonbaty, or if he should have lost to him.
Hey guys, don't worry. I'm actually going to be doing the commentary today, but I will be talking about the 1997 Mr. Olympia, and we are going to see if Dorian Yates should have won or if he should have lost to Nasser Sonbaty. Going into this Olympia, Dorian Yates had won 5 Mr. Olympia titles, and he was going for his 6th. He had suffered, many injuries, including a recently torn tricep right before the Olympia. That definitely took away from his overall physique in this competition, and I definitely think that Nasser presented a very comparable and competitive physique. In the front double bicep pose, it is clear that Dorian Yates is losing. Look at the left bicep. Look at the left tricep. They are gone. His right arm, while not looking as bad, is terrible still. And his forearms are huge and disproportionate to his actual arms themselves. I mean, his forearm looks to be the same size as his left bicep and tricep. The lats on Dorian Yates are definitely bigger than Nasser's, but that does not mean that they are better, because if we look at Nasser, he presents some amazing lat flare, and his waistline is very tiny. In comparison, Dorian Yates has a very wide and blocky midsection, and his abs do not show through that well. If we look at the legs, Dorian Yates does have pretty cut and pretty big legs, but Nasser does as well. And I think Nasser is taking away this pose for the overall shape that he has and for the lack of injuries. In the front lat spread pose, both men look phenomenal here. Dorian Yates looks very good, and so does Nasser Sonbaty. Dorian Yates' arms do not play as big of a factor, but are noticeably downsized in a shot like this. Nasser, on the other hand, has humongous arms. Both of them have tremendously large lats themselves, with Dorian Yates having more bulbous-like lats, while Nasser has more human-looking lats, which is kind of crazy to say. Now, if we look at the legs, it appears that Dorian may be in better conditioning, but Nasser has very large quads, very large quads. The midsection goes to Nasser. I mean, look at just the overall flow of the midsection looks much better, not bloated whatsoever in comparison to Dorian Yates, who has a blockier midsection. Now, look at Nasser. He has a much better chest than Dorian Yates. Dorian Yates it looks like he's flat almost in the chest. Nasser also beats him in the shoulders, and like I said, beats him in the arms. And they're very comparable in the actual lats themselves. And Nasser appears to be even wider than Dorian Yates. I think if Dorian Yates had those arms and was in a little bit better conditioning like he normally is, he would be swiping the floor with Nasser. But I think Nasser takes a shot like this just because, I mean, look at the overall package, guys. I know Yates definitely wins in the lats, right? But if we look at the overall package itself, I mean, and that's something you guys know that I really like to look at, Nasser looks phenomenal. And Yates just has too many weaknesses to win a pose that he would normally dominate in. In the side chest pose, Dorian Yates doesn't really look that good. Nasser Sonbaty, on the other hand, looks amazing in a shot like this. Look at how big Nasser's leg is. I mean, it is huge and it is ripped. Look at the separation between the quad and the hamstring, and you can see the glutes peeking through. Whereas on Dorian, you really can't see any glutes on him whatsoever. The arm, look at the arm difference, guys. Nasser's arm is huge, and look at the striations in Nasser's shoulder. Very nice. Dorian Yates looks very, solid and conditioned here, and you can see that through the far pec, something that Nasser doesn't really have. The midsections, it's a clear win for Nasser in that aspect. I mean, look at the, flat waistline versus Dorian Yates' more bloated stomach. And man, the real lack of arms on Dorian Yates, it is hurting him in a shot like this. I mean, his forearm looks great, but look at the bicep and the tricep. They really don't look that great. Um, Nasser's chest, too, is just bigger overall, and Nasser is a bigger bodybuilder. So I'm going to give this shot to Nasser because he has very good conditioning, very comparable to Dorian Yates in a shot like this. And on top of that, isn't lacking any body part. So, you guys, in the side tricep, I actually have two pictures to look at. In this first one here, Nasser is at a more flattering angle than Dorian Yates is. And in the second one, they're about equal in terms of flattery of the angle. Now, Nasser looks incredible here. You guys can see that his conditioning looks amazing. Midsection tight, tricep itself huge, bicep huge, incredible shoulders and pecs. Very good looking here. Midsection in check. Dorian Yates, on the other hand, tricep looks pretty small. Legs look okay. They don't look to be in phenomenal conditioning like he usually is. Midsection, a little distended. His chest looks okay in this pose, but we'll have to see in the next shot. His shoulder looks okay, but in a pose like this and in a picture like this, Nasser looks picturesque and he would be handily beating Dorian Yates. Looking at a second shot of the side tricep, Dorian Yates actually looks much better, more reminiscent of a 1995, 1993 Dorian Yates. Now, what isn't reminiscent of that time is Dorian Yates' midsection. Once again, you guys, you can really see the bloating and distension that he has. It's almost as if his midsection is sticking out further than his chest actually does. And his chest doesn't really look all too good here. Nasser looks very good once again. I mean, there's nothing really more to be said. He has a very flawless physique in a shot like this. Dorian's tricep fares much better, and so does his shoulder. And we can now see the humongous calf that he has. Really, I mean, Dorian Yates would be wiping the floor with Nasser with any other version. But in a pose like this, it's just too close, and Dorian Yates is just kind of crumbling apart. He's really falling off here. I'm going to have to give this shot to Nasser still. In the first of the two back poses, the rear lat spread, both men look good here, but Dorian Yates presents a phenomenal package. I think his back was the only body part that continued to become better every single year, even in 1997. I mean, look how wide, dense, and grainy his back looks. Conditioning is amazing from the rear here. His legs look amazing, his glutes look very good here, and look at the density through the lower back, something that Nasser really lacks here. He really doesn't have the same width through the lats, and while he has arms that Dorian Yates does not have in a shot like this, arms play pretty much no role in a shot like this. So, I mean, Dorian Yates also has the humongous calves. Nasser has very good calves too. But Dorian Yates has better conditioning and is wider in the parts that count, like the back. So I'm going to give this pose to Dorian Yates. In the second and last back pose, the rear double bicep, once again, Dorian Yates' back, it just continued to get better. I mean, look at how big and dense and grainy it is once again. Look at the lower lat region. I mean, it is filled out to a T. And look at the Christmas tree. It is amazing looking. Dorian Yates has some amazing hamstrings in a pose like this. His glutes look good. Nasser's glutes do not look to be at the same level of conditioning. His hamstrings look very good, and his calves are very good as well. Very similar to Dorian Yates. And that says something because Dorian Yates has amazing calves. The arms, definitely play much more of a role in a shot like this, and Nasser is 100% winning in the arms once again. But Dorian Yates' arms from the back do not look as bad as they did from the front. And Dorian Yates just has the density and thickness throughout the whole back region, along with the conditioning that propels him much further ahead of Nasser. I think Dorian is very reminiscent of an older version of himself in a pose like this, if not better in the actual back itself. So Dorian Yates handily wins this rear double bicep pose. So like in the side tricep, I'm going to have two poses for the abs and thigh. Two different pictures, that is. Same pose. In this shot, Nasser El Sonbaty presents a much smaller midsection and a much more aesthetic one at that as well. Dorian Yates has larger lats that flare out more, but that's really all that he has, I guess, as the advantage here. Because Nasser has almost equally as flaring lats, but that smaller midsection creates a better V taper. While Dorian Yates, if he had a smaller midsection, he would have a superior V taper. But in this case, his midsection is a bit blown out and a bit wider here. Now, we can't really see their quads, so I'm going to pull up another picture to see what their quads look like. Getting a second opinion from this second picture reveals the legs of both gentlemen, and in this shot we can see that Nasser has bigger legs than Dorian Yates. They share a similar level of conditioning, but they are overall bigger than Dorian Yates is. Now, Dorian Yates wins in the calves, right? But I think that's not enough because Nasser's legs, now that we can see them, flow much better with his physique. The tiny midsection, the large quads, the tremendous V taper, and the conditioning, and the abs themselves, a big part of this pose, right? The abs and thigh shot. Dorian Yates does not look horrible, but he does not stand a chance next to this aesthetic mass monster. So I'm going to give this pose to Nasser. So I had Dorian Yates losing to Nasser, and Nasser won 5 out of the 2 poses, as you guys can see on the scorecard. I had Nasser winning the front double bicep, the front lat spread, the side chest, the side tricep, and the abs and thigh shot, while I had Yates winning the rear lat spread and the rear double bicep poses. Before you guys come at me, hear me out. Yates lost a lot of these poses because he had melting and falling apart body parts like his biceps and triceps, and he had a distension in his midsection, right? And he overall didn't present the Yates that we're used to, right? From like a 1995, 1993. If he presented that, he would have definitely dominated in every single pose. Maybe not the front double bicep or the abs and thighs, but it definitely would have been a lot closer, and he could have taken those poses from Nasser handily. I really just can't see how the judges gave Dorian Yates, who had melting body parts and just all these problems, the win over a flawless and conditioned Nasser Al Sonbaty. I definitely think there were politics involved because, why wouldn't the IFBB and the Olympia judges not want to give a 5 time Mr. Olympia going on sixth, his sixth Olympia title? There was definitely an incentive for the judges to make Dorian Yates the 6 time Mr. Olympia winner because it would put him up there with the all time greats like Lee Haney and Arnold, and this would be very marketable for the IFBB. Whatever the case, I definitely think it's unfortunate that Nasser didn't win this show. I definitely think that he was robbed, and there's definitely no reason why Dorian Yates, with all his melting body parts, should have placed first. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think there's any poses that Dorian Yates should have won over Nasser? Or do you think there are poses that Nasser should have beat Dorian in, like in the back shots? Please let me know down below because whatever criticism you guys have or feedback, it definitely helps me, with my mindset and views on these shows. If you liked the video, consider liking and subscribing. And thank you once again for watching till the end. It means a lot to me. I hope to see you guys in the next video, and thank you for watching once again. See you next time.